It's like GPS for your life, the Sky Vibe Show. Judi Diamond here with iHeartRadio, along with Thomas Miller, professional astrologer, and this is the Sky Vibe Show. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, Thomas, I got to tell you, I was so thrilled to get out of Mercury in retrograde, and then bam, last week I'm listening to your fun astrology show. What? Pluto in retrograde? Come on. Give me a break.
You didn't have time to even catch your breath, and here we are. Another big one.
Yes, and a very emotional podcast I listened to from you, and I went, oh my God, we got to talk about this on the Sky Vibe. Bring it down to the people like me.
Well, first thing we have to talk about is retrograde. And astrologers like to throw around a bunch of terms, and I don't like to do that. So let's bring retrograde into what is it? What are we talking about? And it basically is a change in the perceived direction of the orbit of a planet from Earth. If you were watching it up in the sky, each planet has periods of time, and it's different for each planet, when they appear to go backwards in the sky. The best analogy to kind of think of is, have you ever passed somebody on the highway and it looks like their car was actually not moving forward?
Yes, definitely. Or when you're flying in an airplane.
It's not that a planet in the sky slows down and stops and turns around out there, but it does from our perception, and therefore it does on the astrological chart. So Mercury is the big one, and it gets all the press. But all of the planets go retrograde at some point or another for a period of time. Mercury is always around 3 weeks. But now Pluto, the farthest one out there, 3.3 billion miles away from the Earth, last week started appearing to go backwards. And because it's the slowest, it has one of the longest, and it's going to be doing this until the middle of October.
Oy. And from what I understand, I mean, we're in such an interesting period, Thomas, of shifting. I mean, I see it all over socials of people feeling like they need to change something in their lives. Does this have anything to do with that?
Boy, that's been the conversation that I've been having over the last couple of weeks with everybody. Even you've told me, I mean, and I know you're in touch with your listeners and people call and you're talking to people out there. You've got your finger on the pulse and you're saying everybody is feeling this in some kind of way. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the deal. Whenever we talk about things in astrology, and this is where it does get a little bit more complicated, we have to mix all the ingredients that go into where something is and what's happening around it. So we have to look at what sign is that planet in. And right now, Pluto has just moved into Aquarius. Just wee little bit.
Whoa. Aquarius is the don't tell me what to do. That part I know.
That's my favorite description of Aquarius. Don't tell me what to do. It's like, I'm going to beat to my own drum. And I've got a lot of Aquarians in my family, so I know this sign very, very well. But it's going to start going backwards, and it's at 2 degrees. So what's the sign before Aquarius? Well, that's Capricorn. Mm-hmm. It's going to just barely stick its toe into Capricorn for a couple of months, basically. And then in October, it will turn around from the very last part of Capricorn and start moving back into Aquarius, and there it will be for the next 20 years. That's basically the path.
20 years? Wait, 20 years?
20.
Has it been in Capricorn for 20 years?
Yes.
So Capricorn, from what I understand, is a very very rigid kind of a feel to him. My daughter's a Capricorn.
We're not describing anything in particular here now, are we?
No, not at all, but so different from me. She should be the mother, I should be the child. Yes. She's very rigid and very stuck in her. She wants everything planned. Everything is in its place. This is what you do. She likes rules, and that's how I see it. Am I any close to any of that?
Yeah, very much so. In fact, one of the characteristics of Capricorn that we think about talking about individuals from our own natal birth charts is we say, you're going to climb a mountain and you're probably going to get to the top. The thing is, you have to make sure you're climbing the right mountain.
Oh, I like that.
All right, but collectively, let's talk collectively for a minute. And you're exactly right. the imagery of Capricorn is everything that is, we could say, longevity, which becomes old and stodgy. How often do you guys freshen up your show? Like all the time, right? Yeah, like all the time, right? Always keeping it fresh, always staying ahead, anticipating trends, talking about trends, being on the cutting edge. What you did yesterday is maybe not relevant tomorrow because things are changing.
Right.
Total opposite of Capricorn.
That would describe my daughter.
Capricorn, what it was yesterday, it will be today, and it will be tomorrow, and it will be next month. And these things get tired and worn out, and they need to be freshened up. We need that Aquarius. Hey, let's radically blow this up and start over with something else. So the Capricorn revisiting from a collective perspective, this is what this is what folks are going to be feeling between now and October, is going back even in our own lives and being given the opportunity to release things that don't serve us anymore.
Wow. I've been doing that a lot lately.
A lot of us have.
Wow. So explain, Thomas, I know Jupiter, for example, is expansion. How is Pluto? Like what kind of things do we look for with Pluto?
Pluto's main characteristics are death and rebirth. And they go together.
Almost choked on the death part.
So and people get afraid of that. But look, here's the example that I love to use for Pluto. Let's say O'Fallon. Go out to the outskirts of O'Fallon, and just beyond the growth area, there's an old warehouse building out there. Some developers get their eye on that, and they know things are moving in their direction if they were to buy that property. But there's an old warehouse that's full of asbestos, and nobody's bothered to do anything with it. The windows are all boarded up. Animals have been living in there. It's gross, right? It has to be torn down. And that's the process of the Pluto kind of death. Now, it does symbolize physical death, but from this perspective of death and rebirth, you have to tear the warehouse down and haul it off. And that's dirty. It's congesting. It makes noise. It's not fun, but it has to be done. And from that, a beautiful new shopping, apartment, living, office community can be built. And it's thriving again.
I love that. I love that.
It's the caterpillar to the butterfly kind of transformation.
That's what you had on your fun astrology.
That's the way that I like to describe Pluto. And that is, when Pluto shows up, we're going to be facing some kind of transformation work. We're going to be facing things in our own lives that don't serve us anymore. But the problem is we like to cling to things that are safe, that give us security. The devil you know is better than the one you don't.
People don't want to be uncomfortable.
Exactly. So we hang on to things that really it's time to move on. And from the perspective of our soul's path, the journey, the soul, the spiritual, I love Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. He said, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And in that human experience, we want to cling to things that the spiritual being is saying, let go. There is so much more for you out there. There is so much more growth. You can fly so much higher if you will just shed that weight. And that between now and October is what we're going to be faced with the opportunity to do, is go back in our lives and face various situations, synchronicities, if you will, intersections with our divine, with ourself, with our higher self, with our soul's path. It's going to ask us perhaps to let go. And the question is, are we going to resist that and fight against it? And it's going to have to pry our fingers off of it, and that's where the pain can come? Or are we going to realize that this is this big, massive time of shifting everything, and we might as well just let it go and let it flow and get into the new rhythm? And then when Pluto moves back into Aquarius later this fall, then we can say, okay, I'm going to do it my way, and it's going to be radical.
If anybody listens to, I have one other podcast that has been releasing the same time as this one. Very interesting because it's called What a Shift Show. Same theme. Very much everything we've been talking about And she is an Intuit spiritual guide as well as tarot reader.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that show a little bit.
It's called basically What a Shift Show, and it's about creating soul tribes, how we can become a better collective by being connected. And we like to call it a tribe. Everyone's welcome. It's another tool. Tarot is another tool. Don't be afraid of it. But what's so fascinating to me is every single episode we've had so far has been exactly what you just said, that we are having to face karma, whatever it is in our soul. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be uncomfortable. But guess what? It's like holding the barn doors closed with a dozen horses, and it hurts to hold them closed. But if you just open them up and let them free, it's going to flow. And Laura brings up, when you jump off the boat, yes, you're going to have to jump off that boat. You're going to have to be uncomfortable, but you will be saved. You won't drown. Promise.
Well, and I'll tell you this, too. The reason everybody's feeling what they're feeling right now is that I'm going through that, and you're going through that individually, yes. And Billy's going through that, and the folks you work with are going through that, and people in the audience are going through that, and our families are going through it, and we're all feeling it in our own expressed way, and we're trying to figure it out because we've never experienced something like this before, collectively. And
how cool is it that we get to?
Whoa, this is an amazing time to be alive. But
yes,
it's also an amazing time to give a lot of space to people who might be going through something that you just don't even know. But this is part of the process, and it's not going to go away quickly. This is not a drive-through solution. It's going to be here for a while. So we might as well not fight it, but rather embrace it and let go of things that don't serve. That's the big message of Pluto going backwards in the sky.
I love that. I love everything that it speaks to. And Thomas, thank you so much. If you want to be part of this tribe, again, it's a tool, as we've said before, whether it's a church, a tree, astrology, tarot, whatever it is, whatever helps you to get to your authentic, loving self and help in the collective, we're here for you.